Hey guys, welcome back. So we're going to do a bit of a UV project this time. But before we do, I just wanted to show you this, which is my new lighter that I got from Amazon. And I will put a link to it in the description. But I was fed up of those normal sort of long neck lighters running out of gas every 2 minutes. And I was getting like packs of 4 or 5 of those for about £10. And basically they were lasting me one project and then I was moving on to the next one. So this only cost me $11.99, refillable. And I thought it's not going to be as powerful as a torch, so it might be useful for resin. And hopefully it will give me the same effect without burning the mold. So we're going to test that in this experiment. But this experiment, if you're like me, your ideas come from absolutely anywhere. So last night I was in the kitchen cooking myself some spicy noodles using some of these bird's eye chilies. And I thought, do you know what? They might look really, really cool in a pendant. So that's what we're going to test in this project. Firstly, if it works, it should do because they're already dried out. And secondly, what it's going to look like. And I think I'm going to use this long mold and try and get 2 in there with some UV resin just to see what it looks like. So hopefully we get a good result. So you're going to need obviously your UV resin. And if you're going to use bird's eye chilies, some bird's eye chilies, and your UV light to torch it. But that's it pretty much. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. Now, what I am going to want to do, I think, is just let these soak a little bit in a little bit of the UV resin to make sure that any air that's trapped in them comes out. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pick which ones I think are going to look cool in a pendant. And I think I'm going to try and go with 2. And I want them to actually look like chilies. The ones that look too squashed to me don't look like chilies anymore. So I'm going to pick out 2 that I think will be slightly different. I like that one. Oh, so that one there maybe. And then, is there a tiny one? There is. So there's a little tiny one here as well, which could fit nicely in the bottom there. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting anyway. And just to see if the UV resin magnifies it or changes the colour at all, because all I'm going to use is clear UV resin. And in fact, I'm going to try it first without soaking them in anything. So all I'm going to do is just literally take them out. And then I've got my UV resin, which I'm going to fill the mould probably about 1/3 of the way first. And then I'm actually going to cure it before I go any further. Because what I want is I want them to be submersed, but I also don't want them sort of right on the front. And if you can see, there's a little tiny bubble just there. So I'm going to just take the end of my paintbrush, get it to the surface, and then I get to test out my new lighter before curing it. So that'll be interesting. And again, whenever you're doing UV resin or any other resin projects, just have some baby wipes next to you to keep everything clean. But I can see that little bubble there. So I'm going to test this and hope it doesn't burn the mold. Fingers crossed. And that worked rather nicely. So far, that's looking good. So what I'm going to do is just cure this for about 30 seconds using my UV lamp. And then we're going to put those chilies in, fill it up to the top and cure again. And that way we should get a little bit of a domed effect on the front of these, because this particular jewellery mould, it's slightly domed on the corners. So hopefully that'll work. We'll see. But again, if you're liking the experiments, if you're liking the content, please like and subscribe to the channel. It makes such a big difference. Put something in comments whether you liked it or not. Do you know what? Have you got any other herbs and spices you want to see in a pendant? But it could be a great way to spice up your love life. You never know. Give this to your partner. But no, it's crazy where these ideas come from. So that has pretty much cured in there. So now what I'm going to do is just place these roughly where I want them. I don't want it too close to the top, but I do want to make sure it's going to be completely submersed. And actually I might have done that layer a little bit too thick, but we will continue because I still think this is going to give us a really cool effect. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cover it, and then looking at the top I might need to dome it a little bit on the back to make this work because of that first layer that I've put in, but actually I think it would look kind of cool anyway if we dome it both sides. So now I'm just going over these chilies. I wonder if any of the chili will actually leak out like it does when you cook as well, when we cure it, but we'll find out in a second. And I'm filling this all the way to the top. And I can see one bubble there. And I can see I am gonna probably have to dome this because of the height. Now I'm gonna try pushing it down a little bit further and see if that makes a difference. But also by doing this, hopefully it's gonna release any bubbles that are in there. But I'm liking this so far. And then I'm going to give it a quick torch again because I can see those two bubbles that have popped up. Oh, and I actually charred them a little bit there but with the torch, but do you know what? I kind of like the effect where it's actually charred it a little bit there and there because they're so dry. But yeah. Oh, another bubble's just popped out as well. So I'm just going to cure it. In fact, I want to get rid of that bubble quickly. Gone. But again, don't spend too long with your lighter on these because that goes to show they will burn. And they do try and float a little. So what I'm going to try and do is just press them down and then get my lamp ready and be really quick so that hopefully it doesn't give them time to rise again. And I think that's as close as I can get. Again, not too fussed about doing a full cure here. I just want to see what result we're going to get, really. And there's a bubble that I missed, and I can still see it. Is there any way that I can get to it? No, it's already cured. We are going to have a bubble in this, guys, so apologies for that. I don't think there's any way for me to get it to release now because it's already cured a little bit on the top, which is a shame. But you know what, if I like the effect, I can always do another one. And it's right next to the center as well, so it's going to be really obvious. But I just really am curious as to what this is going to look like. And if you can see those chilies, now we are slightly elevated, so I've got a choice here. I can either persist with this one and dome it, or do another one if I like the effect. And I'm probably going to go with the other one because I don't like the fact I've got that bubble in there. I am a bit of a perfectionist, but I just want to see what it looks like. Wow, I actually think that looks really cool. So I am going to do another one and hopefully get one without any bubbles this time. Maybe do a much thinner layer first on the bottom And then I am actually going to put them straight in this time. Because I think that was part of the problem. So just do this so we've gone all the way around. No bubbles on there. Cure it. And then I'm going to try and find one that fits perfectly in the mould this time. Even if it's just one. Because actually I love the way it's magnified it. Maybe that one, that's cool. If there's enough room in the mould. Because I think that's a nice large one, which I think would look really cool magnified. So what I'm going to do here is try something a little bit different. Just want to make sure it fits in there first. Ooh, again, it's close. I'm going to go with a different one because I think that one's a little bit too wide. And again, you're probably not going to want to cook with these once they've touched the resin, if I'm being honest. So avoid cooking them if you've used them in the resin. One that's kind of long but kind of thin, and ideally if there's still one with the top on, because I actually really liked that. Ooh, that one's long and thin, perfect. So I'm going to just pop that in, make sure it goes flush, which it does. And I'm actually going to try and just put a dot of UV resin in there and actually cure it from the underside. So then that way it's secure and it's not going to float up and create any issues like that one just did. So again, just going to get a little dot in the middle. Then I'm going to put the chili in, hopefully getting it to touch that resin. And then I'm going to cure this from the underside, which will hopefully keep it in place. But again, guys, this is just a fun experiment. I love how you can see the seeds through that, actually. It'd be nice if that comes through on the effect. You can just see there, those little seeds coming through as well. But again, this is just, as I say, quick, fun experiment. I was cooking last night and I thought to myself, what would it look like? So let's have a look. There's only one way to find out, and that's to do it. So that should hopefully now be, yep, it is secured. So now I'm going to carefully try and fill this up to the top and try and avoid any bubbles. But I think due to the nature of the chilies already being dried out and hollow, we may get a couple. But I'm going to try and not burn this one as well. Chili pepper pendants, who would have thought? I think this one is actually gonna be the perfect size, but I just want to try and make sure I avoid any bubbles if at all possible. And then I'm going to show you as well how I'm going to attach a bail to it just to make it into a pretty pendant. There we go, and that is full. Now I'm just going to give it a second to see if any bubbles do appear. There's a little tiny one there, which is already at the surface, but then there's another one just here on the chili. And try and bring that up to the top, just gently. And then there's another little one just in there. And again, if I can get that one to the top, just gently. And then try my lighter again. Still that tiny one there. And again, with these being transparent, I don't want any. I think that's just about got it. So now, before any more appear, and I'm hoping there's none behind it now at this point, I'm going to give it a quick tap and just see if any more bubbles come up. They don't appear to be, so we may have got it this time. So what I'm going to do is actually cure this for a minute on each side, and we'll see what we've got. Hopefully this time it will have worked, because I'm loving the look. And you'll have to excuse the noise, guys. I'm just getting some of my jewellery pieces, so we can hopefully turn this into a necklace. So here we are. If you're anything like me and you make stuff regular, you've got a big box of accessories like this for when you're doing jewellery. And I've got these black leather style chains, which I actually think would go really well with this. So I'm hoping I've got a good sized pinch bail that's going to fit that, and we can turn it into that necklace. But I'm just going to turn it over now and do the other side. With UV resin, you always want to cure both sides. And yes, there's a bubble in it again, which I didn't see earlier, just there. So I think what I'm going to have to do on the next try is actually soak them in resin first and hope that that is going to stop. But actually I think that one is still a nice enough piece that it's going to work. So I'm going to get one of these large pinch bails. And these come in sets of hundreds, normally in different shapes and sizes on places like Amazon, or Temu do them as well, but I always prefer to get my jewellery bits from Amazon, as I believe they're of a better quality. And the ones that I've had from Amazon so far haven't gone green when I've tested them, so that's always a good sign. And all you're going to want to do with these pinch bails is open them up and put them in the holes and give them a good squeeze. You can put glue in, but to be honest, I've found that they're normally strong enough to not require it. So there we go, that should be cured. It looks cured. I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds on the other side. And you can water cure this if you want to. Touch wood, with this resin I've not had any issues with stickiness or anything like that, so I'm not going to bother, especially since I've got that bubble in it as well. I'm probably going to end up doing another piece after this. But I just want to see what the overall look is going to be like. So I absolutely love that. It is just a chili pepper in a pendant, and it's a shame about that bubble, otherwise it would have been perfect. I'm just going to put that to one side to cool down. Now if you see this, it is slightly sticky. So actually I am going to water cure this and just show you how it's done. So all this is a silicone pot filled with water, and I'm actually going to put them both in there and cure them both at the same time. But all you're going to do is cure them in the water for a further minute, and that should remove any of the stickiness. What I do like to do as well is just move them around so they're not touching each other when they're curing. And then what you're going to need is a microfiber cloth just to dry it off with. Something like this. And you're going to want to use a microfiber cloth rather than kitchen roll, because with kitchen roll there's always a risk that it's going to scratch the surface. So ideally you want to use something like that, nice and soft. And I think that should be enough. So I'm just going to grab the one that we're going to actually turn into a pendant, which is this one, and give it a quick drying off. I say, it's such a shame about that bubble, otherwise this one would have been perfection. But at least I've learnt for next time. So if you're going to put anything dried like herbs or anything like that in there, with UV resin, it might be worth just soaking them first in the resin so that any bubbles get a chance to come out, which I thought we'd done, but obviously not for long enough. But just look at that. You tell me that doesn't look cool. And then all you're going to want to do, this is why you need the large pinch bales, you see, because they are actually deceptively wide. So I've just tried to widen that pinch bale, and again I'm going to put one in one side and hope I can get the other one in on the other side, and then I'm just going to use my pliers to give them a little bit of a squeeze. Try and be as gentle as you can at this point, and I think that looks really cool. So then all you're going to do, if you've got any chains like this, I actually like the contrast of the black and the red for this, so that's why I'm using these black ones rather than one of the silver chains I've got or anything like that. And then you're just going to want to get your loop, put the chain through it, and then hopefully we will have a finished chili pepper pendant. So let me know what you think, but that was just a quick fun experiment with a bird's eye chili. So who wouldn't want to wear a chili pepper around the neck? But no, really happy with the way that's come out. And let me know what you think. And again, if you've liked it, like and subscribe to the channel. The only way we can grow is with you guys. So if you've learned anything or if you've liked the experiment, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of this cute little chili pepper pendant that we've just made. And I'll see you on the next one.